Hello everyone, welcome back to the Makisode YouTube channel. How are you today? It is a beautiful weather out, and I hope it is the same where you are, or even better. So today we're going to be walking you through how we made this t-shirt. This t-shirt can be worn by both a male and a female. It is a sports tee. It is is a uni-gender tee. You can make it, you can work it longer into a dress. You can work it shorter into a tank top. You can work it tighter for those who like their t-shirts snug. You can work it, wider for those who like their t-shirts wide. Now, the entire thing was worked in Houndstooth stitch, yeah. But before I go on to give us the details, I'm gonna be asking us this: Are you new to our channel? You should totally go subscribe on a weekly basis. We bring you brand new videos, inspiring you on all of the possibilities of crochet. We walk you through how we made one of our own bespoke pieces, yeah, like this one right here. And then we also demystify what one celebrity or another wore. Yeah, we talk patterns, we draw patterns, we modify patterns, we create our own patterns. Like here, I'm going to be talking us through how all of this was done. But yes, those are the things we teach you at the Makisode Crochet Academy. We have our galleries up on Instagram for wedding day party apparel, yeah, consisting of wedding gowns, bridesmaids dresses, wedding guest dresses, and all of that. You can find those at Makisode Weddings. And then for our other everyday casuals, corporates, accessories, and interior decor, yeah, you find all of that at Makisode Models. Do well to follow, do well to like, do well to leave a nice comment, and do well to share our content. Yeah, would really love that. Okay, so back to our tea. I said earlier that our tea was worked majorly in the houndstooth stitch. As you can see, the entire body, the vest part of the, yeah, because this was first of all a vest before we inserted these sleeves. Yeah, so the vest part of it was worked in houndstooth stitch, the entire body. And now the interesting thing is that rather than walking up or walking down, we walked horizontally. And there's a video I'm going to be attaching to show us how we assembled the vest part of it. I'm attaching that to the description box so you can go take a look at that. But for this t-shirt, this is the wholesome, yeah. This is where I tell you everything that went down with the tee, yeah. But the specifics, I'll attach the video if they exist, and then I'll just talk you through the rest if those particular specific videos do not exist. But like I always say, if you're an intermediate level crocheter or an advanced level crocheter, everything I say right here will make sense to you. Only beginners, absolute beginners, may not understand what I'm saying, which is where the questions you need to ask when you watch our videos. Ask questions in the comments. Yeah, ask clear questions in the comments, and the part that we can come back and expatiate or be a little bit more explicit on, we will do that. However, if you do not know anything at all about crochet, you may want to take our paid classes and actually learn how we do here at the Makisode Crochet Academy. All right, so for this tee, yeah, we started right here. I don't know how well you can see that joining right there. That's the seam. Yeah, that's the seam right there, as you can see. So yeah, we started right here. We worked the back panel first. Okay, yeah, we worked the back panel first. I think I can show you right here in this picture. So this is what we ended up with first as the vest form. And when you fold it, this is what we get before we now insert sleeves right here, and then a collar right here. But essentially, this is how we started. So this is the back, right, the back here, and then we walk up, yeah, get to the under the first arm, and walk back. This is the front panel. So back panel here first, and then front panel here. So what were we saying? So this is the entire tee, right? You have from the shoulder, measurements from the shoulder all the way to the base. So what do we do with that whole measurement? We divide it into three. The three parts would be the armhole depth, the body, and then the edging part. So this edge here, you could choose that you want it to be 2 inches, and then let's say the armhole right here is about if the entire length was supposed to be, okay, let's say I have the entire length being something about 24, right? And then the armhole depth is say about 8. it means that 24 minus 8, I'm going to be having, this will be 16. Now, if from the 16, which is supposed to form this arm, under the arm to the end, I'm going to have to take out this base. So the edge here, if I want it to be 2, it means I have 14 left. So that means that this length right here that I'm going to start with, my foundation chain, this is where the foundation chain is going to have to measure 14 inches. All right, now realize that I'm going to have to create an arm seat. This is what I call the arm seat, right? So where you have the sleeves, before the sleeves are created, there's something I like to call the arm sleeve. So there's a dent there. So this dent right here is what is here. So I created two rows of that to create that arm seat, right? Before I now extended the length all the way to the shoulder. So work the arm seat, the 14 inches first, and then add up your 8. So you end up having, after 2 rows of 14 inches, when you now add 8 inches, you now have a 22 altogether. Realize that you're supposed to go 24. So your edging is the one that will take up the remaining 2 inches. So you work that up all the way, the entire back. The entire back, you end up with a rectangle, right? A rectangle. So realize that as you walk up, if the width of this t-shirt was supposed to give you, say, a 34, it means that the back panel is 17. So you're going to be walking this back until you get to 17, right? And then just before you attain your 17 rear, do not forget that you have to walk the other arm seat. So your last 2 rows again are going to be, you have to take out the 8 inches from the armhole and walk your 14 inches for this second arm seat. All right, and then continue. If you're walking in the same color, please go right ahead and keep going. However, if you're planning that the front panel takes on a different color, this is the point where you're going to have to switch colors. So you now switch your colors for the next 2 rows that are going to make up the arm seat before you extend into the arm and keep going. So now we're done with the back. We're now on the front panel. The front panel, it could be a little tricky depending on how you want your neckline to be. So for this particular t-shirt, we decided that the neckline was going to be a V. So on that note, when we got to this point, this is the second arm seat right there. After walking our 2 rows and then extended to walk our full 14 inches, what did we do? We after walking the two arm seats, 2 rows for the arm seat, we walked up the shoulder, that shoulder part right there. Yeah, walked up the shoulder part right there. Now if you're walking in the same color, of course same color goes all through. However, because we did we added other colors, that's where we now had to keep alternating. For as we designed it, you can choose one whole color here and another whole color the other way, or you maintain one color in all, or you keep doing this until the end of the front panel. All of that is left to you. All right, so yeah, as I was saying, so after working the length of the shoulder, this is the length of the shoulder right here, we had to start reducing. Yeah, we're heading towards the middle part where we're going to be creating a V neckline. So we reduce, evenly. Realize that you cannot reduce this your V neckline less than half of the armhole depth. So whatever you do from here to wherever it is you stop, you cannot exceed half of the armhole depth. Let me use here to show you. So you can't exceed half of the armhole depth, because you do not want that is where, especially if a man is going to wear this, the men do not really like deep necklines, so to speak. It's only we women who enjoy deep necklines because of our cleavage. But men do not have cleavages, and so they do not really appreciate deep necklines. On that note, you want to keep the V-neck reductions to a point just above halfway of the armhole depth. So your armhole depth, if it was 8, it means that you do not want this dent to exceed 4 inches deep. Note that. All right, and then when you get to the middle of the front panel, you start increasing again until you get to where you need to walk the shoulder part. This shoulder part has to mirror this other shoulder part right here, and then continue that until the end of the front panel. Do not forget that the last 2 rows are going to be mirroring the seat of the underarm, and that is where you sew up. At this point, you now have this vest. Yeah, the vest is now complete when you sew it up. So you can now work your sleeves. So what did we do with the sleeves? We worked double crochet stitches, yeah, with the sleeves. Yeah, we worked that out. Worked the short sleeve, double crochet stitches, yeah, and then we edged with the front post, back post stitches in double crochet. Yeah, we did same for this other side, for the other sleeve. And then we edged the base we edged it with front post, back post for that remaining length. So now we have the t-shirt now has its full complete 24 inches length. Yeah, that's it. So now for the collar, so to enjoy this tea, right, for depending on if you're working in for you're making the tea for somebody who lives in the tropics, you may want to keep it light. So we use lightweight yarn for the body of the tea. However, for the collar we used something a little thicker, double the weight of what we used for the body, yeah, to work the collar. And the collar we worked in single crochet stitches with the hook size less, so that you have this sturdy feel with the collar. And then we labeled the collar. That's about it. It's really easy. So entire body houndstooth worked horizontally. Then the arms, the sleeves worked in double crochet stitches and edged with the front post, back post stitch, double crochet, front post, back post stitch. And then the collar worked in thicker yarn in single crochet stitches and labeled. So the individual may want you to write, they may want to write something nice, something really, something personal to them. You could, design the tee as you want it. So go try that out. Yeah. So from the back view, all you see is this beige. But once it turns around to the front, you now have these other colors, on there. So yeah, do you have any questions? Do ask in the comments. Yeah, ask in the comments. And let us know you love the t-shirts, you do not have the skill level, yeah, you cannot even crochet at all. Do let us know in the comments. We'll work the t-shirt for you for a token. And on the other hand, you're a crocheter, you'd like to replicate this, yeah, in any way that you want, and all you want is a pattern, ask us also in the comments, and we would give it to you for a little token. Yes, that's about it. Yeah, yeah. So pattern for a token, work t-shirt for a token, everything else free. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe, and bye for